Thank you so much, Dan. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm only going to take a few minutes for Rio, but I'll start. Oh, sorry. Good. Ray. Where's
Ray.
Where is he? Ray. Where is Ray?
He's right outside the door.
Oh, he just gave me a sheet with a quote by Edmund Burke, and that prompted me to think about something that Mark had just said. And that has to do with where we're going and why I'm here representing the Times, because we talk to millions of people. We talk to millions of people all the time through the Washington Times. And so, and with Edmund Burke, sorry, I'm sure you've all heard his concept of platoons. And I'm reading here from Imprimis magazine, in the phrase of Edmund Burke, thanks to Ray for reminding me, the family is the origin of the little platoon we belong to in society, and it is the germ of public affections. The family is held together by the strongest of human bonds, by love, by demands of self-preservation. He goes on and on. So that's important, because how are we going to grow? And what I so appreciate of what all of you represent is anchoring worldview in the essential institution of the family, and the love and relationship of a husband and wife and parents and children centered upon the Creator, God. So beyond kudos, I felt from the time I started working with Dan and some other folks with the Colson Biblical Worldview Center, Nancy Schultz and others, I got very involved in studying and learning, and even I used my role as the chairman of the Times with the Wilberforce weekend, and I'm even thinking maybe that's something we should talk about for this, is we took the entire conference, just kind of vacuumed in all the content. I said to John Stonestreet, who runs Summit Ministries, just give me the transcript, give me the audio, we'll make a transcript, and we'll edit each speech down to an op-ed size, 650, 700, 800 words, with art and photography. So we put all that together into a 32-page tabloid format special report, published in the Times on the Wilberforce weekend. And the heart and soul, we had Eric Metaxas and Os Guinness and some amazing people that are part of this community. But I'm thinking that's something we should explore. So it's just a new idea. The heart of the matter for me is the battle of principalities that we face, and I so appreciate what David just shared with us in terms of the diabolical factor. We're dealing with good and evil, battle of principalities. And it's being fought out to win or lose the hearts and minds of people, which is the realm of worldview. I was first acquainted to the power of worldview in the Cold War. I was part of a group, we started it in 1987, the American Constitution Committee, and that's when I first bought the books by Vera Hall, and I have the Webster Green Book, the dictionary, and the two red books, and I would use those for lectures and stuff. But we worked with a group called causa, the Latin word for cause, first cause, referring to the existence of God. And causa taught a God-centered critique and counter-proposal to Marxism-Leninism. Systematic 13 lectures, showed Soviet expansionism, what was really the behavior of communism, and what were the pillars behind it, the Marxist theory of value and historical determinism and the dialectic, the philosophy and theory that guides everything that communism does. And then we critiqued it from a founder's perspective, meaning the founding fathers and the founding principles of America based on a Judeo-Christian point of view. And that was a tremendously successful program. So I ended up teaching that for 3-4 years to intel folks, military and law enforcement, legislators, pastors, and that's what awakened me to the power. Of course, I knew the power of ideas. Richard Weaver, ideas has consequences. I've been with the Washington Times since 1994, launched the national weekly edition to 100,000 paid circulation. I absolutely love it. It's the best job I could ever, it's not a good job, it's a mission, it's an offering. It's my kingdom building work. And I'm on the publishing business side. So the Lord has planted a pretty deep-seated calling. I'm 72. I plan to live in my prayer to 100, for real. I'm studying longevity. I'm a widower of 21 years, have 5 sons. My late wife was from Korea, married 20 years, and had stomach cancer in December of 2002, or in August, and by December she was gone. So I was left with a 9-year-old to a 19-year-old, and that time I was the marketing director of the Times. And I could feel and sense, you know, don't give up, just keep leaning into it, just lean into the wind, keep aligned with your faith, and things will work out. Thank God it did. And the Lord has brought a beautiful woman into my life. I'm kind of announcing that here.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yes.
And I want y'all to bless it, but she's from Taiwan. And she's a classically trained pianist from a rich, spiritually rich Presbyterian family from Taiwan. Anyway, we're coming together. And the reason I bring that up is because we face the most dangerous twofold battle space, probably in the history of the world. You know, I think books written 50 years from now will show, comparing World War I, World War II, compared to what we're dealing with, it's a different magnitude. And that has to do with China. So my reawakening into the worldview media realm is how to deal with China. Good friend of mine, Bill Gertz, who writes for the Times, he's on Fox a lot, was just on Neil Caputo just the other day, a week and a half ago. Talked about a report, you can look it up on the Department of State, came out 8 or 9 days ago, and it was a thorough report of Chinese information operations, which is a psychological warfare battleground in which the Communist Party of China spends billions, literally, and the State Department tracks it in this report, on influence operations, which is worldview education, right? And it's extremely sophisticated. So much more than what we can do just speaking from the pulpit, of course, although that's the heart of the matter. So I'm in this war, right, as the chairman of the Times. And when Dan told me about this, and Roy, when we met at CMP, at first, I've got a busy life. I've got to catch up on the weekends with everything else going on, but it was like 3 days ago. I just got this conviction. Put everything aside. Follow your instincts. I love this work because it's the heart of the providence. And I so appreciate what you guys are doing.
Amen.
So, with that, and I also want to say that I see Carrie here, and you know, I remember now when I first purchased those books. It was in 1987 or 88, around there. And I think I just was stunned to see what research went into that kind of scholarship. Today, I don't want to cry in front of you guys, but that library, I come from an Irish Catholic, 12 years of Catholic education. I was taught the life of the mind, the power of the human spirit to learn and grow based upon truth. I felt like your library is the word I wanted to say to Carl, Gary. It's a sacred space.
Yes, that's right.
It's like almost more than the church.
Yeah.
The history, or it's let's I don't want to, let me take that back. Nothing's more than a church. It's the satellite office right next to the church. It's the library of the church, right? Travis would know that. So, but oh my God, what a treasure! So then, why isn't it digitalized? And what are you thinking? And what about hooking up here and there? And so I have 2 convictions that I want to ask your help on. One is to grow audience. I'm a marketing specialist. I'm a strategist. I've been trained by some of the best people in the industry in marketing and in political science. And I'm in a unique sense where I try to bring hybrid learning from best practices in innovation in technology, media, business, into the deepest problems of foreign policy. And that's what we're working with Newt Gingrich and Mike Pompeo and people that are deeply rooted in these fields, right? And they're believers. And how do you match their problem set with innovation and growth in terms of strategy and technology? So I've got a twofold mission. Grow a tribe of Washington Times citizen leaders in every congressional district. I talked to Newt about this.
Yep.
My scale is like to start with 1,000. I built 100,000 paid circulation for the National Weekly back in 1990. So I would like you to think, let's partner. I want to join the CIA. I'll just join it. But let's figure out how could the Washington Times be a platform for all the different work and ministries, because I know there's like about 30 or 40 different spheres of influence that are all connected. And so that's one thing. 100,000 or 1,000 readers of the Washington Times in every congressional district. And then the next step is to 10x it, scale it, grow it. So we're looking at 2024 coming up, 2026, 2028. How do we educate voters with reliable information and putting worldview content in an appropriate way is vital. Therefore, and I'm not watching my time.
You're over your 5.
I promise you.
I wasn't watching either, but I just
I'm going to
know
bring
that.
it in for a landing. So, I saw your page there. So we have launched a new platform, and I want you to feel like you can not only have access to it, but I want to invite you to own it. And we did it as an act of love. Our editor, Chris Dolan, realized we've got to create a platform for the faith audience within the secular rubric of the Washington Times, which is highly credible. We fought that battle and people rely on it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the higher ground. Go to highergroundtimes.com. Billy Hallowell's with CBN. He just interviewed George Barna for like an hour. We interviewed Kirk Cameron, Kevin Sabo. I'm thinking of various people in this audience that we need to hook up with Billy and write some articles. I take a lot of notes by habit. I'm a lifelong learner, but I think there's a lot of stories to tell, and you need to get that. We need to get that out. So Higher Ground is really valuable. Highergroundtimes.com, and it sits within the Washington Times universe. The second thing that I'm working on is to raise a fund, an education, I wouldn't call it a war chest, but it's to fight this battle. And my target right now is $40 million. And I'm now working with folks to see what we're dealing with. They're not necessarily worldview aficionados or experts, but they see the battle lines. People like Newt and folks like that. And so I ask for your prayers. And I also feel like if we work together, we can create that network of platoons of families and communities and churches that really get it, and we can make a big difference. So with that, thank you so much for giving me a few extra minutes. God bless the work you're doing, and I just want to go back and sit and take notes and learn what's going on. So God bless you.